What's up, everybody? Josh from Red Short Trades. Today I want to review probably three Tesla trades that I ended up taking yesterday. It's now Saturday. I was just reviewing my trades that I took, and there were some things that I was learning about them, and I wanted to share those out, also document the trade for you all. I hope it's helpful. With that, let's go ahead and jump right into the charts. Okay, so there's a few things I wanted to point out specifically about the trades that I took. When I was jumping into the day, I was seeing Tesla have a lot of volatility. We had a lot of momentum up here, broke through this kind of key level, this higher time frame level. We were above, I think we had a pre-market bounce right off of the, we were kind of dancing around the prior day low here. We pulled below it prior, and then we reclaimed that level in the pre-market. So I was really interested to see what it was doing around this pre-market level, or I'm sorry, this prior day level. And we saw this really nice push up. I marked out my 5-minute high. As you know, I'm a break and retest trader. And so I mark out the 5-minute high, 5-minute low. That's usually what I look to trade, is that opening range break. And then we saw this rejection pull back here, creating this nice 1-minute order block here. It pulled back all the way down to the pre-market level again. And then we saw a really bearish candle. Still wasn't in the trade yet. I wanted to see what direction Tesla was deciding to go. And sure enough, what ended up happening is it pulled up, came back, did retest this higher time frame level, which could have been a good entry. But again, we haven't really established a full trend for the day yet. So I'm waiting for that trend. As you can see, the low down here really was that pre-market low. Or sorry, that prior day low, my purple line here, that prior day low, and we actually closed on the 1 minute. We had closed a candle below the prior day low. So this equally could have started continuing downward in a downtrend. So I wanted to wait for more confirmation for a trend to establish, give me at least 2 higher highs, 2 higher lows. And that was really what we started to see. We saw this bounce. We saw a really nice bullish engulfing candle, bounced off that higher time frame level, pushed above this 5-minute level here. And then what I was waiting for now was a retest of my 5-minute level. So we had nice displacement up here, and we actually pulled back down here, and I thought about getting in on this big green candle. It's a good thing I didn't. I probably would have psyched myself out, because we actually didn't end up going down to touch this level. I wanted to make sure it touched the level, mitigated the orders that were there, and then started to push up. So we danced around here, a lot of indecision candles, and we saw this bull flag forming here, and we bounced. So we had a lot of indecision candles here, and we ended up seeing a bull flag form here. And we ended up touching with this red candle, this 9:59 candle, just before 7 o'clock Pacific time here. And at 7 o'clock, we had this rejection. We started to push up, and I actually got in on the forming of this candle here, this green candle here. I was shooting for high a day, and I ultimately had higher time frame level target up here, this 321 level in Tesla. And I ended up drawing this order block. I put my stop loss just like closer to the lower part of the body of this order block here, and which gave me my 1 to 2 risk to reward. And we ended up taking a minute, but we ultimately ended up pushing up. Now I had pulled in roughly, I think I had 10 contracts on this one. I sold half up here, and I ended up holding the remaining ones, and I ended up selling a few up here because it started to invalidate the level, and then I ended up getting stopped out. So not as much of a trade as if I had actually exited probably 80% of my position. And the more I think about it, I sometimes try and play the volatility and the volume that I'm seeing, and when I get to my 1 to 2 risk to reward here, once I hit that level, I've been being a bit more bullish on these hits and only taking off half instead of taking off 80%. And I'm finding that this day is a great example of that. It's actually getting me to break even a bit more than I'd care to admit. So I ended up being only up like $150 on the day so far after this stop out. So then I was just kind of waiting to see what happened there. While at the same time that was happening, I was watching that Q's had a stellar trade, because the NQ started selling off. It hit a really high time frame level on the NASDAQ, and it just sold off beautifully. But as you could see, the same strategy was at play here, and I saw this forming, and I wanted to jump in on it, but I was going bullish on Tesla. And sometimes it's tough for me to psychologically think about going bullish on one stock and then bearish on another stock, just because you never know. You never know what direction everything's going to flow in. But we saw a really nice displacement, 5-minute low here, nice displacement, pull back in, this consolidation right around the 5-minute level. And once this candle pulled all the way up here, the buyers tried to get it all the way up here, bears stepped in, and sellers started pulling it back down below the 5-minute level. This is a great entry opportunity. and you hit this 1 to 2 and then even more all the way down to these higher time frame levels. So that would have been a great trade to take. Unfortunately, I didn't take that trade. I stayed on Tesla. And so I was waiting for Tesla to continue to show me what it was going to do. And I took another trade, a small trade, smaller position here when it reclaimed this 5-minute level again. I saw this order block. We came down, we tapped into here, and it started to push up here. And the contracts at this point started to go crazy because the IV was juicing over 100%. And so for whatever reason, I don't know why they were, but it started juicing at 100%. So I bought in here, and I think my risk to reward on this guy was right a break below that. And I was targeting the high day up here as well. And it might've been even up here. I think it was targeting that when I jumped in here. And so it was targeting high day, didn't quite get up there, but the contracts were going wild. So I sold a little bit here, but I had a smaller position than my starter position over here. Ended up, this pulled me all the way down to break even on the day. So then I was like, okay, great, we'll have a break even day. But I decided to wait. And sure enough, it was just a pullback and a liquidation down here. And then we just started climbing all the way up here. And there was such a great entry up here once we broke this level that I had from the prior day. It was a prior day consolidation. And so we pushed up higher, and I just anticipated it to keep going. So I was playing a high a day break and retest. So we ended up having this here. We broke straight through it after this bull flag, came back down, and I was waiting for a retest of the level. And I ended up getting in, I want to say it was right about, it was this high day level. So once we tested that, we started pushing up. I decided to wait, bought in a few more contracts, pushed all the way up here. And I ended up, again, the contracts were going pretty crazy. So I ended up taking off half my position. This whole trade ended up getting me break even. I think it was negative like $10 on the day. So a few things to learn from this. First of all, this was outside my trading window. I shouldn't have traded outside my trading window. I did. I didn't trust my levels down here because actually I saw a really good opportunity to re-enter down here and I didn't do it. I got gun shy, and primarily because the IV was going pretty crazy. So first rule, don't trade outside your trading window. There's no reason to do that. Second thing is that I'm learning with this, again, what I loved about what I did here, I waited for the sufficient displacement. If the displacement wasn't there, that's been one of the things that I've had a challenge with, is there's a FOMO desire that once you break out and it comes back for the immediate retest to jump in. And sometimes it can work, but sometimes it'll do what it happened to me earlier in the week, where an immediate retest, you jump in and it wasn't actually a good enough, sufficient enough displacement to show you that buyers are still in control, because it ended up pushing right back down and reversing and going in the other direction. So I was proud, waited for the good displacement. We pulled back, we marked out this flag. We saw the flag continue to push up, and we took profit up here. The biggest thing I would have done different is I would have exited 80% of my position. I think that's going to be the new thing that I'm looking to do, is make sure that I exit 80% of my position once it goes for a high day break, or you hit that two level on the risk to reward of the 1 to 2. So that way, if it does do something like this little double top here before pulling all the way back down, if it does end up doing something like that, that you're not going into like a break even type scenario. The other thing I was pretty proud of myself on this is being able to wait and stick to the plan. I didn't try and exit too early with respect to these. I did, well, not true. I ended up exiting a little bit early before it actually hit the take profit, just because I wasn't getting the kind of strength that I was seeing over here on this one. And then likewise on this one, we saw things start to squeeze, but then we saw pretty big rejections here. So I started profit managing at that. And this gets to kind of like another key takeaway that I'm learning about myself with trading, is the more trades I take, the more my psychology wanes. Like when I go in and I have one trade and I find that one trade and I take that one trade, no matter if it works out or it doesn't, I am so much more likely to stick to my plan versus profit managing. And what I've found is that when I take a second trade or a third trade throughout the day, I get more in the sticking to the trade that I'm trying to take, planning my trade and trading my plan. It starts to wane. And all of a sudden I start profit managing, my psychology goes out the window a little bit, and I start mitigating loss rather than just sticking to the plan. So if anything, this gets back to something that you should keep yourself accountable to. And for me, keeping myself accountable to is stick to 2 trades a day max. I took 3 on this day. Usually I don't try and take more than 3. I mean, months and months ago, I was taking way more than I should have. And you incur losses through doing that. And sometimes it screws with your psychology, because sometimes you actually end up going green by taking more trades than you should be taking. But I've seen people who are taking 40 trades a day, 30 trades a day. That's ludicrous to me. I don't know how you can stay consistent with the psychology and keeping it simple when you're trying to take that many trades. So the biggest thing is making sure you're trading one setup. For me, opening range, break and retest. Make sure there's sufficient displacement. Make sure you're getting the test back into your order block or your key level. And then make sure you're not hesitating on jumping in when you know it is your setup. And then wait. Patience, patience, patience. That's the biggest thing that I'm learning and going to continue to learn. I hope this trade review was helpful, though, as you saw what was going on with Tesla. And there you have it. A few new things to learn, a few new ideas to consider as you're moving into next week for trading. Hope this was helpful. If it was, definitely hit the like button and give that subscribe button a nice pound so you can continue to get more content here. Again, these are for me, but they're also for you. This is for me to help keep myself accountable, but I hope it's helpful for you as well in your trading. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, drop them in the comments below. But until next time, we'll talk soon. Thanks.